I'm going to share the question and I want to see what your thoughts are on it. So this question came in and it is, why pursue a life coaching career?
Yeah, I think this is such a good question. And there's just so many answers to this, I think, depending on the person. My initial thing is like, well, if you're thinking about it and it's something that's been on your mind and your heart, go for it. Why not? Why not try it? That's like the first thing that comes to mind is if you're considering it, you're curious about it, then dive into it. Get a life coach yourself and you'll see how impactful and incredible that can be. Another piece of it too, it's just the transformation of self that I think takes place when you are on a life coaching journey. And so when we know ourselves and we care and love ourselves, we know and care for others and have more curiosity for others. So that piece of curiosity for selves actually overflows into every other area. So I always just think that's really beautiful. Our own work that we do benefits everybody else. It's not really about us. And that's one of the really beautiful things I think about going on the life coaching journey as a life coach. That is your role in somebody else's life, is to empower them. But then also you are empowering yourself by going on that journey of learning. And in return, again, it's the cycle of empowering somebody else in it. And so I really believe that choosing to become a life coach, maybe you're just curious about how to be a better listener or care for the people around you better, or be more courageous in your own life. Or maybe you are implementing it into your career, or you want to start a life coaching business. There are so many reasons, really positive reasons, to step into it because of the growth that it allows and welcomes you into. And you're going to be changed by doing a life coaching program. There's just so much you learn. There's so much you learn about yourself. And even now, having coached for a few years now, there is still so much I'm continuously learning and growing in. And it doesn't stop. And I love to be able to have this growth mindset and know others who operate in that same way too, to be able to show up and be able to continuously just be in a pursuit of growth, and also acceptance of self, that there's acceptance of self and growth continuously taking place. So yes, life coaching, why do it? Because your world is going to be rocked and you're going to come out a truer version of yourself. You're beautiful as you are right now, but there is just more to all of us that I think we don't even realize is there. And so the life coach journey, I think, can unveil a lot of that for us. And it just makes the world a better place when we're more curious and kind and empathetic to the people that are around us. It just changes. It changes us. It changes our tight-knit community. It changes our community in the area we live in. It changes then again the world. What do you think, Raj?
I love that, Ashley. And Ashley was one of the first people I spoke when I contacted Coach Training EDU. And you were the one that, I just spoke to her for 30 minutes and I was like, right, I've got to join Coach Training EDU. I've got to see what this program is all about. Because I could just feel your passion. And here I am still talking to her. So thank you for sharing that. What I was hearing from you as well is this personal piece. And I think, thinking about my own journey in, why pursue a career in coaching of any sorts. I think it was when I experienced coaching myself, and I know I've shared this with you before. And so I was in leadership and I was in diversity and inclusion, and we had some consultants come in and I started to meet with them, and I made a really great connection with Chris, her name is, and she's my best friend now. And she turned into being my coach. But I was so interested and intrigued in what she had to say. And she had a psychology background as well. And I started coaching with her. And it was like magic. It changed my life. It just completely changed my life. And in not just personal understanding, but sitting here today, I wouldn't be sitting here today if I hadn't had that connection with her and started chatting to her. And I think for me, I always knew I wanted to make an impact in people's lives. You know, my first role out of university was running advocacy services and qualified interpreter, and I worked with young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. But something about this was just pure magic, because she made it seem effortless. And now I know it's not effortless. Like, you have to do the training and put the work in. But just those light bulb moments that I was having, and I thought, wow, if I could just learn a little piece of this and be able to work with people, you know, how life-changing could that be? And then somehow I manifested the leadership work that I was doing, and we actually brought in coach trainers at the time to train our health practitioners in coaching skills. So with the premise of, if you take care of your staff, they're going to take care of your customers. So for me, I'm all about all things coaching now, and how do we make coaching accessible to all? And I think even if people are not training to be a life coach specifically to pursue it as a career, for me, I think it's really important that all leaders have coaching skills. You know, I think a bit like you're saying, it increases self-awareness, it increases that emotional intelligence. And I think leadership starts with self first anyway. But we have more leaders who are less about command and control and more about collaboration. They're actually going to build more resilience and resourcefulness within the people that they lead and manage, aren't they? So you have a ripple effect of more empowered people. You have a knock-on effect of people feeling valued because you're asking them questions and being curious, and actually impacts organizational culture. So you can hear that I've talked about this before because I'm so passionate. What are you thinking about that, Ashley?
Well, I love it. One of the things that comes to mind is I'm just so grateful that you stepped into that, because I know for a fact that my life is better having you in it. And I know that you've impacted so many because of stepping into that role, being courageous and saying, yes, like, I'm going to do this. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I know that would be the same for a lot of other people that are looking into it. Just the ripple effect is really grand. And so, yeah, and I agree. I think that, I think that's one of the really cool things working on the team with Coach Training EDU, and that's been so different, is that idea of growth mindset and having that life coaching perspective and curiosity on the team, the dynamic that it creates. And it's really, really lovely, and just really brings out, I think, the strengths of each person and challenges us in ways that it's really healthy and really good, to become, just, I don't know the word there, where I was saying with become, but just like stepping into more and seeing like, ooh, I'm capable of this. So what I was thinking there. So I love that. Yeah, I think having that in leadership is a really, really, really big deal. It makes a huge difference.
And I think, I know you and I've talked about this before as well. Actually, the pandemic, there's been so much adversity in it, but it also created a lot of opportunity out there for the coaching industry. I think organizations really recognizing that they need to be focusing on taking care of their staff, the wellness piece. We've got people working from home, working really long hours. So, there's opportunities out there. There's opportunities for coaches to launch their own business, but there's also so much opportunity now for coaches to be part of organizations. I'm seeing things daily. I get things in my inbox around, even full-time coaching roles, coaching positions, in learning departments and as part of HR, and there's business schools and things out there. And I think I worked so many hours, actually should have been taking better care of myself, but in 2020 and most of 2021, because there was such a demand for people wanting to put themselves first.
Yeah.
And wanting to look at some kind of change. How do you think that affected even people coming through Coach Training EDU?
Well, I think people were looking to be connected. I could really see when we were all just so isolated, and people just wanted to feel connected and to really still know that they're known and that they're seen in the midst of really difficult times. And so that was a huge thing, and it was really, really unique and cool to see. I feel like a lot of our cohorts still really create a unique bond no matter what. But through the time of quarantine and everything, when you had this consistent group that you're coming to every week, and you know that they are going to be curious about you, they are going to call you to greater things, they're going to accept you as you are and look at the future with you, created a space of empowerment, but also just safety, I think, and security. When you know that you have people there, and it encourages you to keep going and move forward and keep building. I think that's something. So yes, I saw that on an individual basis, and then I am seeing also in a lot of corporations, or even a lot of startups and things like that, are starting to create positions for coaches because they're seeing this need. And you know, a lot of people, when they went home and they're starting to see like, oh, I wasn't taking care of myself, or I want a little bit more of a balance and all these things, and the life coaching perspective can really help provide that. And I think we'll provide happier employees, but also just immense growth for whatever company is implementing that as well. Because again, the cycle of all of it, it really doesn't just impact one part, it impacts everything when you start to look at it that way.
And I am still really curious, Ashley, what led you to coaching, or the coaching kind of work in the first place?
Yeah, so I have always known that I wanted to serve women and work with women. And I thought that was going to be through becoming a clinical social worker. And so my plan was actually to go and get my master's in Portland and pursue that. But I had coffee with Amber. Shout out to Amber. She's watching this. She's amazing. She worked with Coach Training EDU at the time, and her and I had connected through Girls Inc. I worked there in Portland, and we went to coffee, and she started telling me about life coaching, and I'm like, what is this? I need this in my life. This is exactly what I've been thinking. And so I was like, okay, no more clinical social work path. I'm going for life coaching instead. And part of that was just the opportunity that life coaching gave me. One year, you don't have to be licensed in a specific state. You know, with clinical social work, I would have had everywhere I moved. And I had an idea that I wanted to live a little bit of a nomadic lifestyle. I have done that. It's been great. But I wanted that freedom there, and just the relationships that you can create and the opportunities within coaching. My vision for serving women is in community, but also individually. So it just allowed opportunity in that area. And at the time, academic life coaching was the closest to what I was looking for with Coach Training EDU. Working at Girls Inc., I was like, oh, I can implement this into working with the girls that I'm working with. And then they started the wellness program, and I took that, and I was like, ooh, this is what my heart beats for. Just that whole person. I mean, all of it is whole person, but a little bit more of that holistic approach. And so that's really got me into it. I think just my entire life, I've known I want to serve and I want to help others and really love on them and help them see their beauty. And life coaching really allows me to do that. And not for me to try to make somebody feel their beauty, but to be in a space with somebody to help them realize it on their own. And that sticks and plants deeper seeds and blooms pretty incredibly. So that's kind of what got me started. There's so much more, but that is definitely like what got me into it. Was consider I have a background in counseling. And so when I first came into it, I was like, oh, I'm good. Like, I've already learned a lot of this. And then and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything. I have so much to learn. So that was kind of cool too. So no matter what your background, I say that to say, like, no matter what your background, where you're coming from, there's a lot to learn in this. Like, it can really stretch you. And we always have more to tap into.
Yeah, there's always more to learn and more growing, isn't there? Thank you, Ashley.